Welcome to the iconic Phillip Island circuit for another thrilling round of the BiS Formula 1600 Championship. This track has seen its fair share of drama, with past winners like Murphy, Broomhead and Harris showcasing their skill on this challenging layout. But here, it's never just about the past. Phillip Island is famous for its draft battles, where races can be won or lost by mere inches. Four wide at the finish line, it's happened before and it could happen again. As we enter this critical phase of the championship, Seba holds the lead, but Murphy is right there, just 8 points back. With drops in play and over 225 points still on the table, the fight for the title is wide open. No one is out of it yet, and every lap will count. Buckle up and get ready, because the BiS F1600 Championship at Phillip Island is about to deliver another unforgettable show. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth today is going to be Reese Gardner, the Southpaw racer himself, and yet again at the broadcast controls is going to be the one and only Mr. Christian Hill. Reese, why don't you tell us a little bit about the track we're at today?
Oh, I'd love to, Zippy. This is one of my home tracks on the schedule. Phillip Island, one of the most picturesque circuits in the world, nestled along Australia's stunning coastline. It's a fast-flowing masterpiece of a track, perfect for Formula 1600 racing. The lap begins with the high-speed Doohan corner, leading into the tightening Southern Loop and the flat-out Stoner corner. Heavy braking into Honda corner offers prime overtaking opportunities before the technical Siberia and the roller coaster section of Hayshed, Lukey Heights and MG corner at 9, 10 and 11. The final sweeping turn 12 launches drivers onto the Gardner Straight, where slipstreams can decide the race. With its mix of speed, precision and overtaking zones, Phillip Island always delivers edge of your seat action. I really love this circuit, Zippy. It started off in the late 1950s. There was a period when it was closed and in disrepair, but it was resurrected in the late 1980s and is now the home of the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix. It is one of the most iconic circuits in Australia.
Well, it's fair to say that you would be definitely qualified to have some background knowledge on Phillip Island, but let's take a quick look at the schedule. You can look here at the BiS F1600 Championship. So we are on to round 6, ladies and gentlemen, round 6 of 8 when we're at Phillip Island, as Reese was mentioning just a few short moments ago. Round 7 is going to take us back to an Australian track. Obviously, Reese was slipping mics in his glass that day, as we are back to Bathurst, ladies and gentlemen, with round 8 taking me to one of my personal favourites, a Zippy-approved track of Road Atlanta for the closer, and that's going to be on February the 19th. But let's take a quick look at the event information as well. Let's see how this is going to go down. So, ladies and gentlemen, 15 minutes of Olives would be good if that's your kind of thing. 15 minutes of open qualifying, with race 1 being 9 laps, race 2 9 laps, but the top 5 get inverted, and race 3 9 laps yet again, but an inverted top 10. They are sprint races, ladies and gentlemen. No stops are required, and it is a fixed setup. It is a battle between the drivers and each other. No setups are available. Standing starts, ladies and gentlemen, with 1 spare car, should you need it, available, with 12x getting you a penalty. That's instant points, ladies and gentlemen, and 17 if you manage to accumulate those in 9 laps. Rightfully so, a disqualification. Reese, tell us a little bit about the points situation, sir.
Yeah, so you mentioned at the top of the show, Roger Seba is currently leading the championship. Matthew Murphy only 8 points behind, though. It's going to be interesting to see how that works, with Murphy and Seba starting a bit further down here tonight. We'll find out very shortly. Broomhead sits in 3rd place, only 12 points behind. The gaps are very close at the front of this field. John Benvalid making his 104th BiS start tonight. He's one of the most experienced drivers in the field, currently 6th place in the championship and doing quite well ahead of Tyler Scarali, and Alex McLean for Britannia iSports down there in 9th place. He's only 2 points ahead of Richard Swindells. That's the Drivers' Championship, as you can see. In the Teams' Championship, it's still Reboot Racing up the top, with Lima Racing 105 points back. Britannia really chasing them down, though. For the moment, though, it's Reboot Racing that currently has a stranglehold on that Teams' Championship.
Well, that's very good to see. And let's take a quick look at the grid. Asad Nakadenbev, one of the younger drivers here at BiS, he takes the pole, with Mark McDonald, obviously a little bit more senior there, for Rust Racing in 2nd. Chad Ritchie takes 3rd, with Alex McLean there in 4th for Britannia iSports. As we have a look at 5th, Matthew Murphy's there alongside 103 races with BiS, John Benvelid. Congratulations to him. And in 7th, we got Roger Sieber. That's your points leader with Richard Swindells for Blah 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 Racing in 8th. As we have a look at 9th now, we've got Brady Clapham and Tyler Scaralli closes out your top 10.
Indeed, starting in 11th place, it's Cedric O'Hyan with Michael Broomhead alongside him. And then in lucky 13th, it's Zach Buchanan alongside Anaf Sharia. Nicholas Colander is going to start in 15th place for Rust Racing alongside Mike Beebe. And then we have one last car on the grid, Matthew Mailman for Lima Racing. And that is the end of things for the grid. A smallish turnout for this round, but we are going to have an excellent set of races here, Zippy. It's all about high speeds and slipstreaming around Phillip Island. Nakadenbev may be starting on pole there, looking at his car, but once they get up to speed, he's going to be under threat from practically the whole field.
Oh, absolutely, and it's definitely going to be a very tough track indeed. As we see the weather information there, it looks like there may be a chance of rain. I see 82% popping up in that bottom right-hand corner, and not the warmest of tracks either, 20 degrees Celsius, but I'll say that 28 degrees. One of them is the track temperature. I'm going to go with the track temperature being a little bit warmer as it's asphalt.
Yeah.
28 degrees for the track temperature. It doesn't take much to confuse me. As here we go, I think we're getting ready. I can hear engines revving, ladies and gentlemen. The suspense, I don't know about these guys, but I'm certainly ready to go. Reese, please do the honor, sir. Take it away.
Yeah, well, we still have about 20 seconds remaining on the grid timer. People just making sure that their throttle pedals are sufficiently calibrated. It's a slightly uphill start here at Phillip Island, but you crest that hill pretty quickly, and you'll be holding the throttle all the way through Dewan Corner and just touching the brakes coming into Southern Loop. There's going to be a lot of potential for big incidents through these corners. The track narrows up, and it's going to be very difficult to avoid an incident if it happens. Here we go then, getting ready to go. As the revs rise, Nakadenbev versus McDonald on the front row of the grid. The green flag flies and we are away. Little puffs of smoke. One driver has trouble getting away. It looks like that's the 183 of Roger Sieber. That's the championship leader falling down to the back of the field as Assad Nakadenbev will defend from Mark McDonald through Dewan. They are still flat out from here, but side by side looks like that might be Alex McLean and Chad Ritchie fighting over third place. And McLean threads the needle through the middle of the Reboot Racing cars. That is just incredible form there from Alex McLean. Matthew Murphy is going to get him on the exit of turn 2.
Well, they're certainly not hanging around at the start of this race, ladies and gentlemen. You can see here Alex McLean trying everything he can. For a moment there, free wide as Assad Nakadenbev has been able to hold on to that lead from Mark McDonald. And you can see Matthew Murphy, Chad Ritchie, and Alex McLean all going in a bit of a fight there. And currently McLean able to take that third spot. As you can see, cars upon cars. And I do wonder that race start, potentially a battle between themselves. You know, you want to get a nice, good launch, but you don't want to overdo the RPM and find yourself just doing a bit of wheel spin away from the line.
Oh man, this is really close racing here for third spot. Matthew Murphy finding his way past McLean again. He did lock the brakes a little bit into the Jack Miller hairpin there at turn 4. But here comes the battle between Chad Ritchie and John Benvelid. Ritchie up the inside there at MG, gets it done nicely, but he can't get the inside line. McLean is there, and Benvelid is going to fight him. The top two have broken away from the rest of the field, but I'm sure it'll only be a matter of time before they catch them up.
Well, certainly you got to weigh up the risk versus reward.
No! There goes Ritchie!
In the final corner, it looks like Broomhead's been collected in as well. He's lost the front wheel, and who is that? That is just basically, well, for lack of better words, mullered on this occasion. As we see another car there in the pits, bits of race car all over the final corner here in Melbourne, Australia. As I hear number 8 car, that's John Beverly, have a little bit of a slide there, able to keep it in check, but we'll get a replay of that in just a moment. But oh my gosh, catastrophic incident there in the final corner.
And it's so easy to do as well. You push the throttle too hard through the last corner, which is basically flat out in these cars, and you end up catching the grass just before the curb starts. That's exactly what Chad Ritchie did, and ultimately it ended up involving Broomhead, Cedric O'Hyan, and a couple other cars as well. There's Ritchie going for the spin. Ping pong's back off the racetrack. Broomhead tries to avoid him, and then well, we'll see it again here from this angle. Looked like McLean almost did the same thing there, but you could see there was nothing Broomhead could do to avoid that. We had a couple of drivers absolutely weaving their way through the carnage there.
I gotta say, whoever was in that yellow car did an absolutely phenomenal job of dodging that incident. That was an incredible bit of evasive driving. But currently we are on board there with the guy in 4th place. It's John Bemblade for Lima Racing, and we are going to have to get hold of that graphic for that new race car of Cedric O'Hyan, who's currently sat back in 17th place. I'll have to see if I can find it. But although absolutely loving the paint job here on the Lima Racing cars, it's a deep dark green, not quite British racing green, but combined with the yellow, with the goldish. I'm very much a fan, but right now at the front of the pack, Assad Nakadanbev able to hold off Mark McDonald for Rust Racing, albeit by just about a 1/10 of a second. Certainly the older gentleman there, I say older, he's not super old, he's not as old as Richard Swindells, but certainly he's got life experience, and he's currently keeping the young buck Assad Nakadanbev very much in line.
Yeah, you only have to look at our driver photo for Mark McDonald to know that he's certainly a distinguished gentleman. Look at him there in his collared shirt and sweater. I'm sure that if he's wearing that, the heat is going to be turning up here as he is staring victory right down the barrel. But Nakadanbev, we've seen just how skilled this young driver is. You know, he races karts in real life, and a very young man indeed. He's got a lot of energy. This is going to be a battle of age, a battle of skill, and a battle of slipstreaming as well, because out of Siberia they come through Hayshed, the flat-out right-hander here, up into Lukey Heights, and it's so difficult to pick the line through this corner here. You want to try and keep to the inside on the exit of this left-hander, because that becomes the outside for the entry to MG. You can get it out just a little bit, as Nakadanbev does, but then down on the brakes, keep the momentum up. Nakadanbev running a little deep, and McDonald might try to find a way through from here if he can get the crisscross sorted.
Well, I gotta say, that is incredible track knowledge from my comrade there, Mr. Reese Gardner, albeit a little bit of a geography confusion for me. I do believe he called one of the corners Siberia, so certainly a very geographical track at this point. But you can see here, Mark McDonald's got an absolutely fantastic slipstream. Is he going to be able to make a move as they head down the start-finish and go towards turn 1? And then is he going to go for it? Certainly in this sprint race format, there is no pit strategy. It is an all-out battle to the end. And currently we're about 4 laps in, almost at the halfway point, as Brady Clapham puts the fastest lap on the board with 1:39.6.
Yeah, here we go then. The battle for 3rd place here. Brady Clapham trying to chase down Matthew Murphy. You can see that the top 2 steadily keeping their gap up, but you did point out indeed Brady Clapham getting the fastest lap of the race. He's actually run about 0.3 of a second faster than our top 2. That is the power of the slipstream, and that's the power of running in a draft pack at this place. You know, this track's obviously known for its top-level motorcycle racing as well as V8 supercars as well, and they go around the track at a big turn of pace more than these cars do, but that just means that there's a lot more of a mental game that you have to play around here in these F1600s. Clapham trying to get a little bit closer here to Murphy and maybe pull a move at MG, but you got to start thinking about the end of the race. Sure, you can go for a move and you can get by your rival, but with enough time left in the race, there's every chance that they'll just get you back.
Well, certainly you do bring into play the strategic pass. You know, when is the time to make that move? And I think Mark McDonald may be holding back on that a little bit. But certainly the biggest person who's going to be motivated to try and make a move right now is going to be the number 8 car of John Bemblade. The top 5 getting a grid invert at the end of this race into race 2. So certainly, you know, getting onto that 5th spot could slingshot you there onto the pole for the next race. As Mark McDonald, he's just going to set the fastest lap, taking that away from Brady Clapham. Fantastic stuff, as you can see there. Actually, let's have a quick mention of the hard charge right now. It's Anaf Shararia. He's currently up 7 places, ladies and gentlemen, having an absolutely fantastic out. And it looks like he's about to make it 8 as he's going on the outside of one of the Lima racing cars of John Bemblade.
Yeah, sometimes you can get that done but you do need to exit narrow from Southern Loop because you get the best exit possible here through Stoner, named for Casey Stoner, 2007 MotoGP World Champion. And this corner used to be called Honda, but with Jack Miller's recent success in motorcycle racing, it was renamed Miller Corner. And then you come down to Siberia. I believe it might be called Siberia because the sea breeze that comes through at this point of the circuit is incredibly cold. Remember, the ocean is right there. This is on an island just off the coast of Victoria, so it's windswept. It gets bitterly cold on race days sometimes.
Well, again, I'm having a bit of a geography fail for Reese because I thought Siberia was a nice warm desert, but again, geography's maybe not my strongest point, but right now what I can tell you is geographically, the number 21 car is trying everything he can for Sim Racing Nation to try and get a move done, and it looks like he's going to get it done almost on John Memlin. That's not enough. Instead, he's going to have a look at the number 15 car, Tyler Scarelli, almost having the wheel vertically in line with the wheels there of Scarelli, and certainly incredibly close racing. So you see there, just adjusting the wheel very slightly, you know, and it's going to be a drag race down to turn 1. I believe Scarelli would have got a bit of a better run, and that's going to put him on the inside, if I'm not mistaken, for this next turn.
Yes, but if you draw alongside like Sharia is, so close on entry, you can hold the outside, but evidently Anaf has decided, okay, I'm just going to wait for another opportunity here. Scarelli's a little deep, though. He's going to catch the grass. He's going to go off at Southern Loop. You don't want to go off on the outside there. You end up losing so much time due to the crest of the hill.
It's interesting you say that because I've just realized who just passed him. Ladies and gentlemen, Zachary Buchanan has decided to join us. Absolutely fantastic success in the BiS Radical Canada Cup. One of the previous winners. He was lucky enough, albeit a soggy driver. That's not, you can't park there.
Bad time for me to take a sip of water. Goodness me. Anaf Sharia there. Yeah. Anaf Sharia going off there at Miller, and it seems like he just made a mistake. It looks like he overshot the braking zone and lost the rear end and tipped off into the grass, which just exacerbated the spin. Buchanan goes, all right, I'm just going to go straight through.
Well, thankfully, he was able to hold the brakes and didn't launch the car straight into oncoming traffic, so that's good. Certainly, a few people in the official iRacing races could take hint of that. This is how to do a good rejoin, ladies and gentlemen. And I haven't even raced this week to be better about it, but certainly, if I did, I'd want to race here with BiS and see myself on the big screen making an absolute pig's ear of it on Pit Road Productions.
Well, Buchanan finding his way up to 6th place now after starting lucky 13th. It's been a good run from the Project 2 driver, and we've definitely seen many of his exploits in much faster machinery here at BiS. And the field is spreading out now with about 3 laps to go for our leaders. I tell you what, Buchanan a little off there at Doohan. There's battles going on all through the field, but the battle for the lead is still incredibly close. And you know what? I think Mark McDonald is just biding his time there with the Sardnik Ardenbev, as it looks like Benbelit and Clapham have switched places there for Lima Racing.
Well, certainly, if I was McDonald, I would be certainly trying to ruffle the feathers on the young buck, which I know does not make any sense whatsoever how a buck can have feathers. But ladies and gentlemen, just picture that for a moment, and you're welcome for that piece of imagination. But certainly, McDonald doing everything he can, keeping Assad and Kardenbev under pressure. And certainly, this is another technique that can be often used by racing drivers, and certainly one of my preferred methods as well. If you can't get past them on the track, or certainly it's not strategic to pass them, make sure you absolutely fill up their rearview mirror instead.
Yeah, McDonald's playing this really well. Only going to be 2 laps to go, and he can set up a potential slipstream coming down the front straight and get the move done. Or maybe, I think the best place to try and get by him would be the exit of Siberia and coming through Lukey Heights. A dive at MG could certainly set things up there on the final lap, but you don't want to do it too soon. If I know anything about Assad Ardenbev, I didn't even know that he was so young until a couple of weeks ago. I will definitely be aware that he's going to get Mark McDonald back as soon as he can. The question for McDonald is, does he give him that opportunity?
I also wonder as well, is Mark McDonald going to be content with a second place. I mean, as a racing driver, obviously you want to try and go as fast as you can and get the best position you can. As I say, that Roger Sieber has gone and taken over that fastest lap title right now. But, you know, risk versus reward, a second place is a good place to be, you know, in the start. And it's still going to get him onto P4 into the next race. But, you know, certainly I would expect him to have a go in the final lap. You know, if he's going to get the move done, I think at the minute he's kind of weighing up his options, seeing, okay, where is Nickard and Bev strong? Where is the car going to be particularly strong? Where can I most capitalize on that draft to potentially make a move? And not only that, make a move safely past the 230 of Nickard and Bev.
Well, on the final lap, this is where he'd be trying to set up the move. He just needs to make sure that he's close enough to get the slipstream. You noticed through turn 2 that McDonald ran a little bit wide. He was able to gather it up and late apex the second corner, but he lost a bit of momentum there, so he's going to have to work a bit harder to stay in touch with Nickard and Bev now. Through MG, you can really see in the attitude of the car that Nickard and Bev is employing his karting tactics there, soaring away at the wheel, trying his best to get the car rotated on entry to the corner and carry that rotation through. It's hard to do at Phillip Island. It's such a fast and flowing track. It's definitely not one for drivers who enjoy you know, making their way around short, sharp turns. There's not many of those around here, but the white flag is out. The final lap has begun, and here comes McDonald up the inside.
Well, we called it, ladies and gentlemen. We figured he'd get a little bit more racy in the last lap, and he's already shown a nose to Nickard and Bev as he went around turn 1. But don't get me wrong, he's still got a couple of corners to go. Maybe that was a little bit of a dummy tactic there to try and put Nickard and Bev onto a less preferable line, you know, get him defending the corner, potentially compromise his exit. But I do see a little bit of lap traffic ahead. I don't think it's going to interfere with this battle, certainly not at this point, but something to definitely keep in mind here. As you see, McDonald, he's looked like he's trying to make a move there. He's going to send it up on the inside, and Nickard and Bev's got no choice. McDonald there on the inside, a little bit of understeer, and these guys are side by side as they continue in this battle for the race win.
Oh, McDonald will set up a crisscross here, potentially. Gears up the throttle, and he's got the momentum coming out of Siberia. He's got the slipstream. He's got the momentum. Round the outside of Lukey Heights, I don't know. It's got the inside for Hayshed, and he's just ahead of Nickard and Bev at the turn-in point. But Assad is going to hold on here. Can McDonald get it done? Get on the throttle a little earlier, and you can try and fire it up the inside of MG. He's going to try it anyway, but Nickard and Bev is going to spin himself out of the lead on the final lap. Through goes McDonald.
Well, as you say that, Matthew Murphy has been able to capitalize on that. And you can see right behind, Brady Clapham was looking to have a little bit of a sniff as well. Not quite there yet. Nickard and Bev, don't get me wrong, that could have been a lot worse. So fair play to McDonald there. He certainly, he played the driver on that aspect and applied a bit of pressure. And eventually it did get the better of the 230 driver. But let's say, fantastic win there by McDonald. Matthew Murphy's going to take second with Nickard and Bev managing to roll home in third. Second even. It looks like he's got a move done at the line. No, never mind. Third. No. I was all excited then.
It was close. It was close. But Nickard and Bev ultimately coming home in third place. So McDonald will be celebrating here, taking a couple of wins this season. First one was all the way back at the first round at Brands Hatch in the rain. But, man, he's continuing to show that he's got great form in these FF1600s.
Yeah, definitely a very spirited driver there. And I got to say, Nickard and Bev, despite him being young, he's not like if you play Call of Duty or something, you get that annoying snotty kid that's just like blows your ears off. Thankfully, he's not that guy. He's pretty mature for his age.
He knows how to set up a microphone. That's for sure.
You say that, I understand he's been having a little bit of difficulty with it in iRacing today, but it's working good in Discord. So Assad, if you manage to get an interview, we'll look forward to talking to you later, but you've got to earn it, my friend. You've got to earn it as we're going to head down into race 2.
Indeed we are. Everyone coming across the line there. It looks like only Chad Ritchie and Cedric O'Hyan left to take the final couple of corners. And, man, got a feel for Chad Ritchie, starting in third place and then ultimately making the mistake that he did coming out of the final turn on that lap. It was a massive smash, but he did get it out and back to the line, so he will manage to get a finish on the board. Well, it's time for the top 5 to be inverted, Zippy. That means we've got John Benvalid starting on pole.
Well, that's definitely a very good tactical decision there by Bembelid. Certainly, you want to fight as hard as you can, but getting that pole on the invert grid is definitely very, very beneficial. And thankfully, it's not like it's an absolutely mahoosive straight there to turn one, so he may be able to hold that off at least for how long. He's going to be under a lot of pressure from obviously the guys that are behind him. Not everybody is. Managed to finish that race in clean spirits, and certainly, Broomhead's going to be another one to watch out as well. He was caught up in that little bit of a wreck earlier, and certainly Alex McLean as well. So there's going to be plenty of drivers looking to try and make a little bit of a recovery drive here in race 2.
Yeah, indeed. I'm going to be looking forward to seeing what Chad Ritchie can do here. Finish 16th, starts 16th in this second race. He's got the pace to win here. He just needs to be careful on the first lap. Looks like a bit of flooding is rapidly approaching the grid there. That's not ideal. Yeah. Oh, dearie me. Well, regardless, only got a minute to go on the grid timer, and the drivers are just waiting for the call of the green flag now. Any other drivers, Zippy, that you think might have a run forward in this?
Oh, I am going to go and sneak one into the commentary booth very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Richard Swindells, who's just managed to be snuck in. Richard, what happened to you that last race there? I understand it was a bit of an incident.
Yeah, I had the auto clutch somehow set on the car, so when I put my clutch in, it didn't do anything, and I went.
I was expecting a bit more of a conversation there, but it's all right. It sounded a bit blunt, and I got to say, what an absolutely fantastic Pit Road Productions logo there on the wall. But Richard, we're going to let you go again and wish you the best luck in this next race, and hopefully you got that auto clutch off at this point.
Yeah, the clutch is still working.
Attaboy! Oh. Green, green, green. Well, we're away, ladies and gentlemen. Richard Swindell is currently still moonlighting on that screen, ladies and gentlemen, but it's fair to say these guys are up and away, and dropped a little bit of a curveball on our director there. He can certainly give me some stick for it a little bit later, as John Bembelid has been able to hold on to the lead. Asad Nikarnabev, he's already up there in second, applying pressure, and he's got to remember, low risk, high reward, as we see another one of the drivers. It looks like one of the Reboot Racing guys is looking there to try and take over that pole position. Lima Racing there, back in first and fourth, I believe, with Zach Buchanan in the bright yellow car currently in fifth.
Have a look at Mark McDonald as well, with a great exit out of the second corner. He's going to try and go for it on Zach Buchanan, as they are 2 by 2, 3 deep coming into the hairpin, even 4 deep as Nikarnabev goes to the lead. Bembelid now back to second place. This is a good chance for Nikarnabev to get a gap. Remember how hard he was battling with McDonald? Well, Mark is back in 6th place at the moment. He's got a few more cars to work his way through. If there's any chance for Nikarnabev to take this win, he has to make it work now.
Oh, absolutely. And certainly, let's not write off John Bembelid either. This guy has not only just been here for 103 events here for BIS, but he's certainly a talented driver as well. Myself, I feel very lucky to say I've raced alongside him, albeit very briefly before he's gone and shown me the tailpipe end of his car. But Mark McDonald is going to have a very tough fight. He is surrounded by cars. And not only that, Zachary Buchanan, one of the more... not overly aggressive drivers, but certainly not one who's going to be interested in sacrificing a position. Certainly not. There's a reason he won the amateur class in the Radical. Oh, did I say that? Dancing with the sand there. Ladies and gentlemen, for a minute there, I thought he was going to be a big fan of David Hasselhoff, as these guys are weaving in and out, as Buchanan's trying to make a move here on Brady Clapham as they head down into turn 1.
Yeah, Clapham a bit more aggressive on the way in, though. In these cars, it's only a little lift, maybe a slight tap of the brakes in the first corner, and you see that Buchanan is working really hard with that rear end. This is a fixed setup series, so every driver is driving with the same settings on the car, and you need that rotation around here. Buchanan's going to get up the inside of Stoner. That's going to become the outside for Miller, so Clapham should have the advantage here. He's aggressive on the brakes. McDonald's trying to find a way through as one of the Lima cars is off. It looks like Bembelid falling now to 6th place.
Well, that's definitely not what he had in mind. And if I have a quick look back, yeah, Bembelid, he's still currently in it. He's alongside Mark McDonald right now. Apologies if my mic sounds a little bit iffy. I'm kind of tilting my head, looking at the other screen at the same time. Triples is a beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly able to recover from that. And Lima Racing very much in the team game here right now. Reboot Racing a little bit underrepresented today. And but saying that, Rust Racing getting a huge cheer from Dan Granfuss in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah, Daniel Cranifus, saw him in the Precision Racing League IndyCar Series on Monday morning for me, as Buchanan just completed a fantastic maneuver there through MG. That is how you pull a move off through that corner. Beautiful stuff. Have a look at the battle behind, though. McDonald, Benvalid, and Sieber all together, and I see Tyler Scarali in there as well. This is going to be a very tight fight for what's ultimately going to be 5th place. Sieber drafts past Benvalid, and he's going to try and go for it on McDonald as well.
I think Benvalid may have chosen survival in that situation. He definitely let off a lift, and you can see there has been able to give him a much more aggressive corner entrance as he's alongside with Tyler Scarali. These guys almost touching wheels. Scarali with a bit of a slide, and that's one of the Reaver racing cars off. Oh, Benvalid sides, McLean sides, and there is 3 cars off right now, ladies and gentlemen. Sieber's out of it, Benvalid's out of it, and I believe McLean took the scenic route as well.
Wow, goodness me, that was absolute chaos there. It looked like Benvalid was trying on the outside of Scarali and just a little too aggressive, and the same thing happened to Sieber too. They did that to themselves. I'm not too sure what happened to McLean, but regardless, that's going to be difficult runnings for a lot of these drivers. So we look a bit further back to 7th place now. Anaf Sharia finding himself in 7th spot. Broomhead and Scarali, the 2 Britannia iSports drivers, leading this fight for 5th now. There's been some huge changes just in a few moments.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly there is a lot that can happen in the race here at BiS. As Broomhead, certainly he's one of the people I said would be on the recovery drive, and he is currently up 6 positions, ladies and gentlemen, with the 21 car right behind him, looking up like, oh no, that's Buchanan. What's happened to Buchanan? That yellow banana car is currently parked up on the side of the track, able to get it recovered. Let's see if there's any damage.
Oh, it's damaged.
Oh dear. All right, we're going to be
big damage.
Oh yeah. Right rear appears to be, for lack of better words, pooch. Let's find out exactly what happened. Here's himself and Mark McDonald. McDonald's there on the inside. Looks like a little bit of understeer and just makes a small bit of contact. Thankfully able to roll that car back a little bit onto the brakes, and the other driver's able to avoid a further incident as well. So a little bit unfortunate, but it's fair to say that the 4-wheeled machine is now rocking 3 wheels. It's gone tripod.
It certainly has. Cedric O'Hyan here on replay. That is Mike Bebby that he ran into on replay there. That's a huge incident, and so Mike Bebby has a ton of damage. He's come back into the pits. It looks like O'Hyan in as well. So that's a real shame for the both of them. Bebby, unfortunately, losing the rear end into Siberia, and O'Hyan, already committed to the inside, had nowhere to go.
Yeah, it almost looked like he, as if he gave him like a little bit of a pole vault to try and leapfrog over the car. But it's fair to say that there's definitely some action going on here. But right now, Assad Nakanobev has been able to hold on to that top spot and doing everything he can to pull away from the 53 car of Matthew Murphy. Mark McDonald's moved his way back up into 3rd. Generally, actually, the closest battle looks like it's this one going on here right now, actually. It's Matthew Murphy and Assad Nakanobev. That's one of the battles. We also have Anaf Sharia and Michael Broomhead battling it out for 6th.
Yep, they are part of a 4-way fight, actually,
yeah, right behind you.
4th spot.
Damn.
Yeah, right behind them. Chad Ritchie working his way through them all and getting into 4th place. And they only have Mark McDonald separating them from the top 2, but it's pretty much a country mile, the gap. So they want to try and work together, I think, to catch up to them. These are only short races.
Well, you say that now. I don't see it happening. I think these guys are going to be pushing it 3, if not 4 wide. You can see Broomhead there. It looked like he thought about giving his teammate a little bit of a poke. And don't get me wrong, these guys are... Not again.
There we go.
The Broomhead ballerina has struck, ladies and gentlemen. It just a little bit of understeer, and I believe that is...
that was Ritchie that... Yeah, got caught up in it, and Broomhead can't get going. They banged rear wheels, so that's obviously done a number on the suspension of both cars. It's a real shame. 2 of our top drivers, in fact, Broomhead being the reigning champion of the series, having an absolutely torrid time there. There's the replay. You saw Broomhead just scrubbing the fronts a little bit through Doohan, and Ritchie was maintaining his line in the middle of the corner, and they just came together.
It's definitely, it looked like a racing incident to me, and not just because Mike signs the paycheck kind of deal. Well, about paycheck here. He's the one who funds BiS, ladies and gentlemen, and he couldn't do it without the real support at home. But certainly you see, and I'm sure, I can't even say his name, Sharia, would that be the correct pronunciation there, Reese?
I
I'm looking
think
at
so,
you for
yes.
inspiration. Enough Sharia is currently back up into 5th place with Tyler Scarali about half a second ahead. But right now, the big battle is going to be between Assad Nakanabev and Matthew Murphy as we have a look elsewhere through the grid. The guys have spread out a little bit more. The next closest one will probably be Brady Clapham and Roger Sieber. But right now, just 0.2 of a second in it. Now, Nakanabev was caught short last time. He made a little bit of a mistake near the end. Can he hold on in race 2 to claim his race win?
Well, here comes Matthew Murphy up the inside of Doohan, starting lap 6. 4 laps remain in race 2, and Murphy goes through to the lead. And Nakadambev can pretty easily get him back if he gets the exit right here, but stuck on the outside, he's going to line up the straight exit there. Bit of rotation in the middle of the corner. Now, if I was Nakadambev here, I would wait. I would wait until the final lap to try and get this back, but evidently Nakadambev is eager to set up the slipstream and try to find a way through, force Murphy defensive coming into Doohan, but Murphy is supreme on the brakes and manages to hook it up at the apex.
Well, certainly he's applying the pressure now, and he's going to try and unstick Matthew Murphy. Now, how well is that going to work? Certainly, it's definitely a valid tactic. It's one of the ones that I tend to prefer, and a good bit of racecraft can go a long way. Certainly, you can see Assad Nakanabev using as much as the track as he could in a few scenarios there, looking for a little bit of a gap. It's not yet available. Jerks it to the right. He's certainly, Matthew Murphy's going to be very much having a hard time not driving in his mirrors at this point. Certainly, that 230 car weaving and bobbing around behind him.
Yeah, indeed. You can tell that Matthew Murphy is on the defensive here. He's trying to block the run from Nakadambev however he can in a legal sense. They have to stay behind through the final corner here. Keep it on the power. Make sure that you don't scrub the fronts too much. Get that momentum. And Nakadambev is going to move on through at the start-finish line. They cross side by side, but Nakadambev is in the lead by a mere 21 thousandths of a second across the start-finish line. Murphy has the inside for turn 1, though. He's going to keep the lead.
Well, for now, I mean, these guys have still got another couple of laps to fight it out, and I think that's exactly what's going to happen, and that's certainly what Mark McDonald's going to be hoping for in a 216 machine. The more these guys fight, the closer that gap's going to be, and it could soon be a freeway fight for the top step of the podium.
Yeah, well, Mark McDonald is running lap times pretty consistent with the top 2 at the moment as Nakadambev slipstreams through at Stoner, but Murphy's going to get him back again in the braking zone at Miller. And that is how the battle goes here at Phillip Island. You can get a good run out of the previous corner, but there's so many sequences of this track where the outside of the exit becomes the inside for the entry to the next corner.
Well, that to me just means more overtaking opportunities, and certainly, it's certainly, for me, it adds to the track. Now, I do believe I actually drove here, it may have been last season, and definitely not one of the tracks that I'm familiar with, but I do remember it being a lot of fun if there's this particular venue that I am thinking of. And certainly Nakadambev applying more and more pressure, and that gap was about 2 seconds. Then it was 1.6, and I've just seen it go down as low as 1 second there, ladies and gentlemen. So McDonald is very much in pursuit. These guys in the front maybe want to think about the long game, but certainly for my best interest, and certainly for your best interest at home, the more these guys fight, the more fun we're going to have watching a freeway fight for this top stop.
Here we go then, just enough room around the outside of the final corner for Nakadambev to sneak through, and he's going to have the inside for the first corner, but I think Murphy's going to try and hold him to the inside there and arrest his momentum. There we go, oh, a little aggressive there from Nakadambev, almost touching Matthew Murphy, but just enough room being given. This is good racing that we're seeing at the front of the field, and it's enough for McDonald to sneak up behind them side by side on the exit. We officially have a three-way battle for the lead.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we thought it was going to happen, and here we go as they're going to head down, starting the final lap in just a few short moments. How well is it going to emerge? Certainly, I would not want to be in the middle of a free-wide scenario. You've definitely got to have a lot of trust in the racers to do that, and while I believe that trust is there, this is racing, and certainly this track, while it can take 3 cars abreast, I'm not sure if it is the best solution to do so. You've got to really weigh up the risk versus reward at this seaside track.
Oh, indeed you do. Phillip Island, popular holiday destination. There's only a couple of towns here on this island and one fantastic racetrack where we're seeing an incredible race for the lead of race 2 here. Wonderful exit from Matthew Murphy out of Lukey Heights. We'll have the inside for MG, but will the crisscross be there for Asad Nikardenbev? Look at McDonald again. He's hanging back here. He's playing this really well. He's observing what's going on between the top two and trying to find a potential way through on the last lap here. White flag is in the air, and we're getting ready for the final 4.4 kilometers of this race.
Well, for any of our people at home that want to know what that is in miles, I can't tell you right now, because certainly these guys are free wide. That is of much more interest to me. Who's going to get the short straw? Certainly it's going to be a battle under the braking, and that was almost a collision there between Nikardenbev and Murphy, and it looks like Murphy's been able to just squeeze his way in. McDonald able to hold on to that top spot, but for how long? You see Murphy applying pressure to McDonald, Nikardenbev applying pressure to Murphy, as these guys are basically playing a little bit of a slow dance right now. I say a slow dance, it's got a bit more action going on. If anything, it'd be a waltz with there being 3 cars in this beat, but certainly a lot going on as they head down this final lap.
Oh no! Matthew Murphy into the back of Mark McDonald. They're both off, and Asad Nikardenbev back to the lead. Drama on the final lap.
Well, the iRacing gods giveth and the iRacing gods taketh away. And on this occasion, Nikardenbev is going to be on the receiving end of victory here in the 230 machine. He's only got to limp it down just a little bit further, thankfully able to avoid that incident. And we do wonder, McDonald and Murphy able to hold on. They pulled away enough of a gap, but they are still close together. If we can get eyes back on them in just a second here, we'll see that battle is still raging there between the 53 and the 216.
Yeah, miraculously, they've escaped heavy damage, the both of them. I think it all worked out perfectly in that respect, but they have completely lost touch with Asad Nikardenbev, 4 seconds ahead of them, and it looks like the battle for second is over, so we can see Asad Nikardenbev finally come across to take victory. Beautiful job to Asad there. He avoided the worst of it, and Murphy and McDonald will hold on there to second and third. McDonald getting second at the end.
Well, certainly a very interesting race at the end. I believe Scarali and Shiraria were going at it at the end as well. Certainly the grid did get spread out quite a little bit. Now, I do wonder if we can get Asad to sneak into the interview room between booths. Certainly, if he's listening to this, that is a subtle hint there. But I'll drop him a hint in the chat as well, just to really, spice things up. But definitely a very, very fun race. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, it will be the top 10 that get inverted as we head into race 3.
Oh, certainly is. Goodness gracious, these results, man. This has been a scintillating round of BiS F1600, and I've really enjoyed this so far. We still have one more race to go with an inverted top 10, and guess what? Chad Ritchie finished in 10th, so he's going to grab pole position and maybe finally try and have a proper run at victory here.
Well, certainly there's still a lot to play for in this final race. Broomhead certainly, he's going to be keen to try and get some points on the board, having 2 races in a row where things just did not go in his favor. As we see the beautiful scenery here at the Melbourne. Well, hang on, we're not at Melbourne. We're on an island. They're advertising Melbourne. There you go, ladies
near Melbourne.
Local advertising, but I've got to say it's in some ways it's a track after my own heart, because being in Nova Scotia, the ocean is fair to say not far away. We're pretty much surrounded by it for the most part, and Phillip Island sharing that geographical feature with us.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, we do have a sponsor to thank here in the warm-up session before we potentially get a run with Asad Nikardenbev. If you like BiS, you'll love Falcon Autosport Track Days. Running out of Grand Bend Motorplex in Grand Bend, Ontario. These track days help get people just like you on the racetrack, making new friends, and can teach everything from good car control all the way up to helping you get into racing a car in real life. BiS racers get a discount of 10% off Falcon Autosport Track Days. Email Drew from Falcon Autosport at drew@falconautosport.com or text 226-750-7916. That's 226-750-7916. Goodness gracious me. What a fantastic race for Falcon to be a part of here. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Asad Nikardenbev has to say, Zippy.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you keep going on that subject, Reese, because he has just been brought into the broadcast booth to ask him, Reese, Do the honor, sir. You don't need me.
Yes, indeed. Assad, you missed out on race 1 victory with that mistake there, as McDonald was pressuring you massively. And it was a massively lucky escape at the end of race 2 there as well.
Yep. It was very, very stressful the entire race. We were all super close. I saw that Mark was catching up behind us, and me and the other driver, we were both racing, and right until the end, very end. It's really sad that that incident happened between those two. And I mean, if that didn't happen, I know that it would have been an insane race until the very end.
Yeah, indeed. Phillip Island is one of those tracks where you're really on the edge all the way along. It's such a fast and flowing circuit. How do you end up playing the battle in a circumstance like that? Because the slipstream is so important in these cars.
Yep, you gotta like think smart, think ahead, think into the other laps, like what am I gonna do this lap? What am I gonna do the next lap? How am I gonna use the draft? Where am I gonna start pressuring them? Stuff like that. With these cars, the draft, it's all about the strategy. It's almost, the pace is like, I would say like 60-70% of the actual skill of the driver. It's a lot about the strategy too.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thanks to the grid invert, you start in 10th place for race 3. So it's going to be a hard battle to get towards the top. With the amount of chaos we've seen further back in the field, it's going to be an absolute minefield out there. So let's see how things go for you, Assad.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much for joining us, mate, and best of luck in race 3. Going to be a big old battle, Zippy, for Assad Nikadenbev to get back through to the lead. And man, I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, absolutely. And I do think this is going to be a redemption race for a couple of drivers. Certainly, I would like to see some better results out of some of these guys. McDonald, he's obviously shown pace here, as has Murphy, and, well, not only that, as has Nikadenbev. These guys really almost stealing the show again today. But I do believe there is pace in a lot more of these drivers as well. McLean is somebody to watch. Certainly, Benvillid, he's got pace as well. There's numerous drivers, I can't get into all of them here, but certainly numerous drivers who have the potential to get on the podium. They just have to try and keep themselves out of these incidents and, maybe weigh up a little bit of that risk versus reward that my iRacing mentor, Mr. C.R. Reed, very, very patiently taught me many years ago.
Yeah, indeed. Patience is key at Phillip Island. I think it's a good time to throw in a little fun fact that not many people might know outside of Australia anyway. Phillip Island was the first host of the Armstrong 500 endurance race, which eventually became the Bathurst 1000. So there's a little bit of extra linked history between this round and the next in this series.
Well, that's certainly, Bathurst is actually coming up. If you're looking to do a special event, that's coming up in the end of February, I believe. And I gotta say, it's certainly a track where you It's kind of like going home to your wife after you've been drinking too much and then asking for forgiveness. It's kind of like that. The barrier is there, and certainly you do not want to crash into it. I think that is the best metaphor I can give, certainly as a man who's never been married and probably never will at this point. There's nobody who's blind, drunk, or desperate enough to say yes to that, and I can't say that I blame them. But you were saying earlier about the V8 supercars being quite popular here, so it's quite interesting, especially to see. We have the F1600, which I'd say is quite a nimble car, very, very nimble, very light, and very agile on its feet. In comparison, that would be like a rabbit compared to the Rhino of the V8 supercar. Reese, why don't you expand on that a little bit just to put you here on the spot?
Yeah, indeed. In a V8 supercar, you're understeering through these very fast corners, and you're trying to control the power on the exits of these corners as well. This car does have a differential. The V8 supercar has a locked differential, so that makes things a lot harder on the exits of a lot of these corners. But I think the slipstream is still a massive factor no matter what car you race here. It's just a case of faster lap times and higher top speeds. Regardless, it looks like we are now in the gridding phase of race 3, so we can have a look at Chad Ritchie starting on pole position, and this is his biggest chance yet for a victory here. He's obviously missed out on it in the first couple of races so far. Richard Swindells is going to be starting on the front row with him, which is going to be very interesting indeed. Nicholas Colander, the invert, has given him a third-place start there alongside Brady Clapham. Anaf Sharia in 5th place, with Tyler Scarali in 6th. And moving back to Roger Sieber and Matthew Murphy. These two looking for a better result here. It hasn't quite gone to plan for Reboot Racing in this round. McDonald and Nakadambev rounding out the top 10. From there back, it's where they finished in the previous race. Broomhead and Mileman 11th and 12th. Alex McLean starts lucky 13th alongside Cedric O'Hyan. And then we have John Benvalid, Mike Bebby, and Zach Buchanan rounding out our field. And Buchanan, I'm looking to really charge through this field.
Oh, absolutely. I was about to say he would be my money for a hard charger in this battle, but certainly 17 cars on the grid. And I gotta say, I do like a good standing start as these guys are getting ready. The countdown is coming to an end. You know, Buchanan for me is going to be the pick for the hard charger, but how about for a race win? Who would be your money on right now?
I have absolutely no idea, Zippy. We are about to find out, though. There's no chance of predicting how these races are going to go, but they are indeed away for race 3, and it's a clean start from all of the field here. Looks like Zach Buchanan might not have taken... Oh, yeah, he has taken to the grid. A bit of a slow start, but he's trying to move on past Matthew Mileman there. Oh, God, 3 wide in the middle of the top 10. They just avoid getting into the grass.
I honestly thought that was going to end in chaos, panic, and disorder. It's as if I'd been on the track. As you can see there, Brady Clapham was in the middle of that. And now he's just given Swindells a little bit of a bump draft, and Swindells miraculously able to hold on to that. The old man obviously did learn some new tricks, as Swindells absolutely getting flash mobbed right now, as is Brady Clapham. Oh my gosh. And then look like McLean looking to make a move up the inside. The Cardenbev looking to make a move. Lima Racing almost contact. Friendly fire as Broomhead and Swindells are now going side by side.
This is crazy on the first lap. I think that would definitely deserve a replay as Nakadambev makes it 3 wide through Siberia there, getting past Clapham and Swindells in one fell swoop. And he's going to try and find his way past Benvalid now as well in car number 8. Can they hold on here through the first lap? There's a slide there from John Benvalid, and he overcorrects off the circuit.
That could have definitely ended a lot worse, but thankfully he's able to gather it back up, and with the draft he probably will be able to catch back up to the rest of these cars. As we see, the fights are still going on. It looks like Brady Clapham's going at it with Zach Buchanan now. Buchanan was the one I said to watch out for a hard charger, and he is already up 7 positions, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not even yet been one full lap as they're heading down the start finish towards turn 1.
Well, Chad Ritchie, you can see, is jetting away in the lead at the moment, but it is on for second. Anaf Sharia and Mark McDonald side by side into the opening corner. Colander and Sieber side by side as well for 4th place, and McDonald gets into 2nd spot. Now we'll have to wait and see if he can break away from this pack, start setting some good lap times to get in touch with Ritchie. And Sharia are a little bit too aggressive on the exit of turn 2 there, almost went into the grass.
Well, certainly, you know, he's using all of the track. That's how it's going to be described by any racing driver. But it looks like Nicholas Colander's doing very well. He's currently up in 4th place. Roger Sieber looking to make a move. And I say that the commentator's curse has indeed struck. Colander gets a little bit of a scenic detour there, and thankfully able to rejoin the track. I take no responsibility for that. Certainly not what I had in mind. But the second time this evening, the commentator's curse strikes again as Buchanan already moved his way up into 8th position and looking to take on Matthew Murphy next.
Yeah, what a run from Buchanan. McLean trying to find his way past Cedric O'Hyan now as well as we get on board with him. Around the outside of Lukey Heights, he's trying to control the rear end. Worth pointing out that Matthew Murphy was the one who turned around Nicholas Colander there. And, I mean, Murphy basically did the exact same thing he did at the end of race 2, just braked a bit too late coming into Miller and ended up cleaning the car he was trying to pass.
Certainly, the review department will have to take a look at that myself. I avoid that with a 10-foot pole, 12 on Wednesdays, if if that comes to comes to land on my desk. But Alex McLean, I will say this: a little known fact, ladies and gentlemen, quite an adaptable driver. We've seen him start in the F1600s here at BiS. Then he's started partaking in the radicals as well. And I will say this as well: he was up to try and run Daytona 24-hour with me. So either brave or foolish, but certainly, whoa. You can see the tension there. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if you could lip read, but I have a feeling it may have rhymed with duck on that occasion.
Oh, hi, and just clipping the grass there coming out of turn 1 and spearing across the racetrack. Alex McLean got very lucky there.
Oh, incredibly close. Oh, it's fair to say they saved all the good stuff for the final race, ladies and gentlemen. It's not to say that it was a little bit weak beforehand, but it's fair to say that the flame is indeed burning in race 3 here at Phillip Island Circuit with the BiS F1600 Championship live on Pit Road Productions. And right now there is a multiple gaggle of cars all in that lead train. Chad Ritchie able to pull away almost a second. If he can break that 1 second mark, that could be absolutely what he needs to hold on to that top spot. But Mark McDonald having a very good night so far. Podium race 1, podium race 2. Can he make it last for race 3?
Oh, can he make it last? Indeed. Well, looking like the battle for the lead is down to 0.7 of a second now, and all of these guys are in touch. Basically, my timing is showing me that the entirety of the top 12 are within a second of each other. So this is going to be the most competitive race yet.
I'm definitely okay with that, as Nikhil Bev looks like he's getting the next guy into the crosshairs, and this time it's going to be Roger Sieber. I'm not sure exactly if he's managed to paint a crosshair on that car, but certainly Nikhil Bev will be aiming for it. And look at the gap there. You can see the draft really coming into play, and Nikhil Bev's going to be looking to make a move. Broomhead right behind him. He'll be very aware of what's happening in that situation and try and hold off Matthew Murphy behind, because right now that gap, not quite a second, just under, but if that gap gets any closer, then there will be another battle going on, as it looks like McDonald has gone and taken the lead away from Chad Ritchie.
Nice and late on the brakes there at the hairpin, but too wide on the way in. Ritchie will maintain the lead as the battle for third continues on right behind them. Broomhead losing out to Sieber there. And Sieber, remember, is thinking about the championship lead. He was only a few points ahead of Matthew Murphy, as we saw at the top of the show. But you know what, Zippy? Every time I look at those standings, I just completely forget about them, because the racing has been so chaotic in this series. We only find out the championship situation after the event concludes.
And understandably why. Certainly, you know, we do get a couple of incidents here and there. Then there's all the other bonus points and stuff like that to take into accumulation. And then not only that, Zippy Map has been proven to not be the most reliable at times. But certainly the math for me right now is Mark McDonald is currently in the lead with Chad Ritchie in second, Nakata Bev in third, Sieber's there in fourth, and then Broomhead closes out the top 5 in fifth.
Yeah, bit of a gap being made up over sixth place Matthew Murphy. It's a miracle that Murphy's been able to hold on to that position in the midst of all of that, as Ritchie and McDonald side by side into turn 1. Who's going to come out best here? Sieber holding on to Broomhead, and McDonald will defend the lead from Chad Ritchie. But this is the biggest battle for the lead we've seen all night. The whole top 5 is involved.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you are there spectating in the chat, start giving us your feedback on who you think is going to win the final race of the night. As we say that, Mark McDonald is hanging on only by a thread. Nakata Bev looking to make a move. I thought he was going to try and send it 3 wide there. Mark McDonald in survival mode at this point, saying, no, thank you very much. I'll hang here. Takes to the inside line as Nakata Bev sweeps in. It looks like he's going to get a tighter line there. And yes, he's going to go for it alongside Chad Ritchie there. I thought he was going to try and take McDonald as well.
This is sick. I love this. This is fantastic racing. Exactly what Phillip Island can provide. This is this track at its best. I love it.
Well, certainly I am not one to complain here. It looks like Broomhead's trying to make a move at the back of this 5-way pack as well. You know, Roger Sieber's there, and actually I think Broomhead just backed out of that. Broomhead obviously not so keen on the ballerina antics in the first 2 races, looking to maybe survive and do an encore for race 3.
Yes, well, keeping in touch with the rest of the top four there, the reboot cars of Richie and Seba still holding on to third and fourth. It's really between Nakatembev and McDonald again. Race one, take two, it seems. But this time, McDonald is the one in the lead.
Well, I say that. We do have a cheer in the chat for Mark Donald, and that's from Dan Cranifus. Again, he's saying that I'm rooting for Mark to get this done, and I'm not commentating, so as I say that, it looks like Nakatembev and McDonald have contact there. Richie's going for it. It looks like another one of the enemy, and it's a spin from Seba.
Oh my God! Okay, so Seba trying to get things going there as cars are coming through. Sharia ultimately coming off second best there, and Seba's going to pull out. He got some damage there. I think Sharia might have made contact with him. So now, then, there were four. Mark McDonald has got Chad Ritchie and Michael Broomhead right behind him with Asad Nakatembev back in fourth place. This is far from over.
Oh, absolutely. And I got to be honest there, I thought Nakatembev was going to force it free wide for just a minute, but you can see Murphy lurking in the background. Do I think he can catch this up in 3 laps? If these guys keep fighting, it certainly is a possibility there. Maybe a little bit of damage on that car. Broomhead looking to put a nose in. He's going to go and send it on the younger driver there. And he's not only that, he's going to get the slipstream off Chad Ritchie, who's just ahead of him. But again, on sticks and stones, ladies and gentlemen, Nakatembev will get the draft off of McDonald, so not quite able to get that move done as they continue there into the right-hander. And you can see Broomhead hard on the brakes, a little bit of a scroll there from Nakatembev as these guys switching, swaying, swerving, trying to get the move done as McDonald is doing everything he can to pull away from this pack of 3 cars.
This is insane. This is so far the best race of the season for me. It has been non-stop action since the call of the green flag. Can they all hold on is the question. Richie getting the slipstream there off McDonald, but Mark's going to protect the inside at least until the entry to turn 1. Nakatembev around the outside. Broomhead's going off in the background. Off he goes into the kitty litter, and McDonald catches the grass as well. He's fallen back to third.
Oh! The ballerina strikes again, and yet again he's able to get that car. I feel so bad. I've got much love for Mike, but certainly tonight has not been the night for him. And certainly I feel like I'm, I don't know, Bruce Forsyth, or the guy that said "This Is Your Life," which is a show from I don't know how many years ago, ladies and gentlemen. But you see here that has, you know, potentially given us a little bit of peace here in the commentary booth. But for how long? Because Mark McDonald has been able to hold on. He's there in second, Nakatembev in third, and Chad Ritchie holding on by 2/10 of a second, 3/10. You see a huge slide there from the 216 machine that has dropped him back to half a second from the lead car and puts Nakatembev into P2.
Well, don't forget they're still close enough to get some slipstream off Chad Ritchie, and I think they're going to keep going as long as they can here. See how Nakatembev was firing it straight for the inside there to try and maintain momentum through Lukey Heights, and he's so aggressive in the braking zone of MG. That's where Assad came unstuck in race 1, allowing McDonald through for the race 1 win. So he needs to try and avoid that now.
Well, I do think we might have a battle going on further back as well between the Lima Racing cars, because it's going to be John Benvalid, Brady Clapham, Alex McLean. These 3 guys, I believe, are all going at it for a battle as well. Oh, there you go. We have a little train of cars. It looks like Broomhead is at the start of that train. So we've got 5 cars in the mix, ladies and gentlemen. Broomhead, Swindells, Ohio, Benvalid, and Clapham. We're going to focus back on the lead battle right now, though, as Nakatembev has taken the lead.
Yep, Richie just sliding his way through the exit of turn 1. Oh, yep. Oh, off goes Chad Ritchie, and Mark McDonald sweeping through to take the lead from Asad Nakatembev. Nakatembev was able to hold on to the momentum. Richie could not. So now Richie's back with Matthew Murphy. Hopefully the Reboot Racing teammates can work together to try and get back up to this top 2 here. It is officially race 1, take 2 here as McDonald goes wide and allows Nakatembev through. And then we're only going to have 1 lap to go when they cross the line next. I love this.
Oh, I'm absolutely, for lack of better words, Reese, this is the kind of racing that will make your bollocks tingle, son. And these guys are absolutely going for it. McDonald is certainly, he's there in that second place, keeping Nakatembev, who realistically, he needs to, well, I guess he needs his dad to buy him a lottery ticket at this point, because able to hold that slide, and then not only that, the dodge there from the opposing competition, it could have ended in absolute disaster. So certainly a lot of thanks should be given to the other driver for that, for avoiding that incident ahead of him.
Can we just point out that Zach Buchanan has made his way to 5th, and he's trying to get 4th off Richie right now? This has been an incredible run from the number 40 as the final lap is going to begin for our top 2. Just a crazy run from Zach Buchanan. Great comeback from race 2, but it's side by side for the lead as the final lap begins. Who's going to take the final race victory of the night? For the moment, I think McDonald might be the one with the advantage here. He's got the luxury of being able to attack and pick his lines. Bev, though, will be hard on the defensive.
Well, I've certainly seen it from both of these drivers that they are very much testing the limits of the car. You can see the cars, both of them sliding around. It's almost as if they're in a skippy for this final section of the race. Definitely a very, very loose setup and certainly adding to a lot of fun. Certainly oversteer can be very, very enjoyable, but in controllable amounts. And I say that, you can see Matthew Murphy lurking in the background, but Mark McDonald takes the lead. But for how long? Nakanamev already back on the attack.
Oh, here we go, side by side into Siberia. McDonald with the inside. Is there any opportunity for a crisscross here from Asad Nikadambev? There is, and he's going to try his best for the inside at Siberia. There's some good momentum there for the 2-3-0. But McDonald will be able to try and hold the outside here and get the inside run through MG. They're both slightly deeper. McDonald catching some gravel on the racetrack there. How late does he dare? Nikadambev hooks up the apex, and I think that might have just done it. Oh no! Nikadambev again with a mistake coming out of MG, and Mark McDonald receives the gift of all gifts. He's going to take 2 race victories tonight.
As I say that, he was dipping a wheel in the grass there, but I guess that man needs to buy a lottery ticket. Not that we suggest gambling here at Pit Road Productions, but you got the hint, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely not the result Nikadambev was looking for, but look who is going to be in P3, ladies and gentlemen. Up an absolutely astonishing 14 spots. I said he would be your hard charger, and he made me tell the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, Zachary Buchanan with an absolutely phenomenal drive through the field. 14 spots.
That is crazy from Mr. Buchanan there. Fair play. I mean, he worked his way through the field beautifully. Swindells will hold on to a top 10 finish. Chad Ritchie finally getting something resembling a good result tonight in 6th place. But, man, Mark McDonald will be celebrating all the way to the pits here. Just a fantastic round for him.
Oh, I don't blame him. Certainly, an absolutely phenomenal drive for that. And it's fair to say he definitely had to work for it. There was definitely no freebies here. And, what an incredible, incredible race. And what a way to end out an evening, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I'm looking forward to speaking to Mark McDonald and Zachary Buchanan as well. Certainly, Matthew Murphy able to have a little bit of recovery there as well and manage to keep it hold of it and stay in second. But certainly, what an absolutely incredible race here at Phillip Island.
What an incredible race indeed. Final results then. Mark McDonald with a 1st, a 2nd, and a 1st is your clear round winner for Phillip Island. Just a phenomenal driving from Mark. Certainly showed that he's got what it takes in these cars. In 2nd place, Matthew Murphy managing to fall his way through after his mistake early on in the race. Thought he would have finished outside the top 5, but he managed to take advantage of the many mistakes that happened ahead of him. Buchanan as well, up into 3rd place after starting down in 17th and last. Crazy stuff. Scarali and Nikadambev round out your top 5, with Chad Ritchie coming home in 6th place. Cedric O'Hyan and Michael Broomhead are 7th and 8th, with Ben Belid and Swindells rounding out your top 10. Brady Clapham, unfortunately, falling outside the top 10 after a really good start from him. McLean gaining 1 spot. Nicholas Colander was absolutely cleaned up coming into Honda and unfortunately finishes 13th. Mileman, Bebby coming home in the last cars on the lead lap. Seba and Sharia, they got involved together at turn 2 and ultimately both had to retire from that final race. I gotta wonder how this is going to affect the championship standings.
Well, it definitely was not a good day for Roger Sieber, but I do understand it was a very good day for this gentleman here. Ladies and gentlemen, an absolute podium machine today. I give you Mark McDonald, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolutely cracking result. Certainly a lot of fun battles going on. Mark, talk us a little bit about your strategy for this success.
Hey guys, first and foremost, so my kids don't have to listen to the whole interview, thank you to my kids for cooperating for bedtime. Graham and Emmy, this week has been really rough. We lost our dog a couple of days ago. She passed away at the ripe age of 11. So this one's for Penny. And thank you to the kids for cooperating with bedtime so I can get down to these races. But sorry, Zippy, what's your question?
Well, my first point I'm going to make is I'm so sorry about the loss of your dog. I'm a proud puppy daddy myself, and she will always be my puppy, despite how old and... Well, she's not that old, but she's certainly sassy. She's a sassy puppy for that. But, I 100%, you have my sympathy and my compassion for that. But, if we focus again back on the racing, so let's have a quick look here. So race 1, first place. Race 2, second place. Race 3, first place. So what really made you drop the ball in race 2 that you didn't go for the full set of race wins?
Well, my good friend Matt Murphy drove over the back of me. No, I mean that did have an impact. But we had, I can't believe that we all came out of that corner alive in the second race. No, I mean, first hats off to Assad. He drove fantastic this entire time, and everyone was super quick. But like I was, as I was battling, especially in the third race, I was like, uh-oh, Assad's 3 places back. Uh-oh, he's 2 places back. And for whatever reason, I don't know if I had damage in the third race or what, but I was just dead on the straight. But yeah, just talking through the races. I mean, the first race I was like, okay, let's just run in second, and we'll make a move at the end. We had some battles. Assad lost it in the hairpin. Just in too hot, which I've done 20 times myself, and I felt really bad. But he recovered to like third. Second race, I knew that it was going to be a little bit more intense, and ended up, they started battling, so I was able to catch up, and was able to make some moves, but Matt just misjudged his braking, and I braked a little bit early on the inside, and we came together. Still all good, finished at least, and then in the third race, man, that was just absolutely insane. Like the entirety of that race was just nuts, and every time that I thought someone was, every time I thought I got by somebody, there were like 3 more guys trying to get past us, and it was just insane the entire race. But then I was honestly coming out of the hairpin. I was like at the apex. I literally said out loud like, "Oh, good for you!" And then he spun off the curb, and that really sucked. I felt really gutted for him. I'm happy I'll take a win, but just he deserved that third one especially.
I've got to say that is absolutely a great sporting endeavor there from Mark McDonald in the 216 machine. And Mark, I don't know if you're aware, but you've been a very popular man in the chat, yourself and Nick Collender. We do have Dan Cranifus there in the chat cheering you up.
Thanks, Dan.
Cheering you on. So it's good to see he's in there as well. We do have a couple of guys cheering on from Mealing Racing as well. Not your department, but it's fair to say that you guys get to pop the champagne tonight, or maybe a softer drink. Not that we want to encourage the use of alcohol. And we can't afford Daniel Ricciardo to advertise Heineken alcohol-free for us either. But if you'd like the position, by all means, we could do it pro bono if you are as well. But Mark, before we let you go, is there any other shout-outs you'd like to send out on the air?
No, thanks to Mike. I know he had a not a great race, but not a great evening. But Mike for putting on everything, you guys for the broadcast. Thanks Dan for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna go spray champagne in the kitchen and then spend the evening cleaning it up. And I'll see you guys at the next track. Cheers. Thanks so much.
Well, that was definitely a very well-deserved win, and not only that, a podium there for the second race by Mark McDonald. A huge congratulations to him. But Reese, I understand you've been able to catch up with another driver, and I do believe it is Matt Murphy.
Yeah, indeed it is. Hello, Matt, and what a night from you, in spite of what turned out to be some very incident-filled races.
Yeah, which is good. The last 2 rounds. Luck wasn't on my side. Tonight it was. It wasn't without contact either. I caught Nick there. I'm not sure if it was the first lap or second lap going into the hairpin, and I told myself going in that I was going to lift early, and I thought I lifted early, but it wasn't early enough. And anyway, kind of climbed him and ruined their races, so apologies for that. But
Well, regardless, a second, a third, and a second from tonight, that is good enough for the second place for the round, I believe. So things are looking good for you going into the open event at Bathurst, which I'm going to say now is going to be the most difficult track of the season.
100%, there's not much room there for messing about. But that said, I love the track. I think there's a lot of guys here that do. The best 3 rounds for last, I guess. Phillip Island is a blast. Bathurst is a ton of fun, and then Road Atlanta is an animal as well, and that's going to be a ton of fun in these cars.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Matthew, and congratulations on your results. Hopefully, well, I think I will be seeing you on the track at Bathurst because I plan to enter, but yeah, hopefully get a chat to you at Road Atlanta.
Awesome. Good to see you out there.
Indeed. Matthew Murphy there. And that will be our second place interview done and dusted. It looks like, Zippy, Zach Buchanan is in here as well. This is going to be a fantastic story from him.
So, Zach, I've got to be honest, I'm going to take part of the credit for your amazing drive through the field there. I said you would be the hard charger in race 3, and you made me very much a fortune teller, a profit seeker, or just a man with a lucky touch. So tell us exactly how you made me so successful on this occasion.
Well, I wish I could have charged a little harder, but yeah, I mean, like this is not my strongest track by any means, and I'm a little rusty with this car. But after seeing the first couple races, I knew that I just needed to stay in the draft and stay out of trouble, and I'd move my way up. I wish it could have been a little closer at the end with, but the leaders just built too much of a gap, so I was just kind of lucky.
Well, I don't know about luck. I'd say there was definitely a lot of talent involved to make it up through 14 positions. And if my memory serves me correctly, every time you say that it's not, one of your favorite tracks or something like that, you tend to do quite well. So how much do you hate Bathurst that's coming next week? Next round, sorry.
Bathurst is kind of unknown. I don't know if I'll be able to make it, but if I can, let's just say I suck at it. Yeah, tonight I definitely feel like behind the wheel, I definitely didn't feel like it was one of my strongest tracks. So frankly, I was a little surprised to come out third after tonight.
Well, certainly it is a happy surprise, ladies and gentlemen. Zachary Buchanan able to move up 14 places. But Zach, before we let you go, obviously we know you're going to be seeing you at the BiS Radical Canada Cup. We're going to get more into that, next week, I guess. But is there anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Thanks as always to Mike for hosting, and you guys for putting on the show. And shout out to Tyler, especially tonight, who I had some good battles with in race 1 and 3. So yeah, it was a fun night. Thank you guys.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am not going to disagree with a single part of that, apart from Zachary Buchanan saying that it's not one of his favourite tracks, as he goes and gets a podium in race 3. So I'm calling BS on that one with a result like that, but it's all right. We will forgive you. But thank you very much, Zach. We're going to be seeing you next week at the BiS Radical Canada Cup.
I'll see you guys then. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that just about wraps up our interviews for the evening. Now, Reese, what an absolutely phenomenal race like that. I've got to admit, I 100% agree with you on that. That was mind-blowingly epic action, and certainly I had a very interesting way of describing it, to which I got agreement in the chat. Thank you very much for backing me up on that. But what for me, what do you think Bathurst is going to, continue with this incredible action? What do you think is going to be the play there in this next Australian track?
Well, it's going to be interesting because Bathurst is a very different track to Phillip Island. Obviously, walls are close at all times. There's a lot more elevation change as well, but we do have 2 very long straights there, which will certainly provide some great slipstreaming passes. But I think Bathurst is going to be much more about survival than Phillip Island was. I mean, survival was obviously important here with the amount of drivers that went off here at Phillip Island, but I think Bathurst is definitely going to bring more of that into account. I'm looking forward to it, but I will be behind the wheel for that one. So you're going to have to find someone to fill in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, desperate times call for desperate measures, and that's why I end up here, ladies and gentlemen. But I will certainly be able to try and find somebody who can take the seat next to me for the next round. And certainly, it's going to be interesting to see just how much trash I can talk about my comrade when he is there on the racetrack instead of the commentary booth. Certainly, I've never had that pleasure before. Our director looking to get in on the action as well, and was swiftly denied. Thank you very much. You guys can't hear it, but he's currently like laughing his ass off at this point. But I've got to say, it's going to be. Yeah, believe me. It's certainly going to be an interesting track. Certainly not one of my favorites. But now I know that you like Bathurst so much. If I do look to run that endurance event, you will be getting nominated to co-drive with me for the first 5 minutes of that race before I peg it into the wall. But ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute belter of a show today. It's fair to say I've had a lot of fun. It looks like you guys at home have had a lot of fun. Mr. Tonker as well, thank you very much, guys. He's saying great work on the broadcast. And that's not just me. I know I'm the most beautiful one. Next to Reese, that is. Reese is number one, you know. Looking absolutely wonderful today. Obviously, our director was saying this earlier. You know, just want to emphasize on that. But guys, if you did see any particular points in the show that you thought were particularly outstanding, and I don't mean my face, the director just like taking random screenshots of me at awkward times and sending them to me, much to my amusement. Thankfully, they don't reach the air. But if you see any particular moments you thought were fantastic and you want to clip them, please do. I want to see the bits that you thought were the best, and then we can start using that in future promotional material. So let me know your opinion. Send me a message on Discord, comment on the YouTube. I'm sure you can reach me. If not, pitroadproductionsinc@gmail.com. You can send the email for the link there. But Reese, before we get this show off on the road and ready for the BiS Radical Canada Cup next week, any closing thoughts from yourself, sir?
Best race of the season, race 3. Like that was some of the most fun I've ever had on a Pit Road Productions broadcast, and I'm really glad to have been a part of it.
Well, you know what? I couldn't agree any more with what he said. Like 100% hit the nail on the head, even if I didn't word it correctly. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it here for the BiS F1600 Championship today. But look forward to Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, as the Almeida Academy, ladies and gentlemen, they are coming over to Pit Road Productions, and we're going to have some action in the BMW M2 Cup. That's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see Academy drivers taken to the streets there. The track there, and that's going to be an absolute belter show. And actually, Reese Gardner is going to be back, ladies and gentlemen. You get more of this happy and slappy do. We'll work on that between now and then. But for now, that's it for me. My name is Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me on my, I guess on your guys' right has been Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner, and at the production controls and also sniggering in the background, Mr. Christian Hill. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute belter having you here on the show, and we look forward to seeing you on Saturday for the Almeida Academy.